How many reps in a back squat? Today we talk about different rep schemes for the back squat depending on your goal. Strength, size, endurance, power. Let's stay tuned. How many reps should we do in a back squat? Obviously, depending on your goal, you choose the rep scheme. First and foremost, I want to mention the back squat is actually a quite, I call it, robust exercise where you can do any kind of rep scheme. Let me explain. As opposed to the overhead squat or the front squat, both of these exercises, the overhead squat as well as the front squat, are not made for a lot of repetitions. What that means, if we look at an overhead squat, because of having the bar overhead, having also a little bit the wrist in that position, and the contribution of the upper body, and the upper body maybe being the weakest link, it is very, very difficult to do more than, let's say, 6, 8 or 10 reps overhead squats once the load and the intensity becomes higher. The same is true for the front squat. Just because you hold the bar in this position, the more repetitions you do, the bar tends to roll a little bit forward. Yeah? So I would not advise, or what we do in training is we try to limit, if we do overhead squats, we limit it to 4 or less repetitions. If we do front squats, we will very rarely go above 8. Most of the times it's 5 or less. But the back squat, you can do anything you want, literally. You can do 1, 3, 5, you can do 10. You can also do multiple repetitions if you choose to, 30 or more. That's entirely possible with the back squat, just because the bar is more comfortable on your shoulders. Depending on your goal, you choose the rep scheme. So if you want to work on maximum strength, you can do 1 to 3 repetitions at above 90% of your 1 repetition maximum. What I call strength development is a little bit that area between 80 and 90% of the 1 RM for 3 to 5 repetitions. If you're looking at hypertrophy, functional hypertrophy, you can do 4 to 6 repetitions with 80 to 85% of the 1 RM. You can already see there are crossovers between strength and hypertrophy, so there's an area where they kind of mix. You get both adaptations, you get stronger and you get bigger. If you're looking at non-functional hypertrophy, excuse me for the spelling mistake, non-functional hypertrophy, look more at that bodybuilding type of training, 8 to 12 repetitions at 60 to 75% of the 1 RM. Strength endurance, yeah, it has to be treated with caution because some people believe in it, some people don't. Anyway, I do that with some of the athletes that do require levels of strength endurance, and we work with more than 15 repetitions. At times we also go to 30, 40 repetitions at really low intensity, 30% of the 1 RM, and then a bit in a circuit fashion. So different stages, 30 repetitions here, 30 repetitions at the next station, and so on. And the last one, the power development, I stick to 2 to 6 repetitions and then modulate the intensity, whether we want to work more on the strength side of things or more on the speed side of things. So power development, 2 to 6 repetitions, and then modulate intensity. As a recap, the back squat is a good exercise for any kind of rep scheme. And then depending on your goal, you choose the rep scheme and the intensities.